Welcome to our YouTube channel, where wisdom meets inspiration. In this channel, we share valuable insights to help you become the best version of yourself. Our content is designed to uplift your spirit and enrich your life. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to stay connected with this incredible journey. Click the subscribe button below.
Om Jananim Saradam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Shritva Pranamami Muhurmuhu Namasri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Surayim Satchit Sukhasvarupaya Swami Tapahariणे Vasudevasutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Dear devotees, I am extremely happy to be present here to participate in this Antaryoga. I thank Nityadipanandaji Maharaj for inviting me, giving me this opportunity to come to Mangalore. It's nearly more than 45 years back when I was a school student. With my parents, I had come to Mangalore and visited some other places nearby. On a pilgrimage we had all come. So more than 45 years back, I'm coming back. I still have my fond memories about visiting Mangalore. So I thank Nityadipanandaji for having given me this opportunity to revive those memories. And Anupamananji, wonderful speech he gave about, even though my mother tongue is not Kannada, I could understand because I had spent a few years in Bangalore. So I could understand about almost the subject matter I could understand. Maybe I could not understand word to word, but the subject matter I could very clearly understand. Wonderful speech he gave. And now it is my chance to speak about the subject, the central idea of Gita, enlightenment through action. Swami Vivekananda, during his wandering days, he visited several places, and one significant place is Khetri, where he met the Raja of Khetri. He developed a very intimate friendship with him. He spent several, probably months in Khetri. The Khetri Maharaja Ajit Singh, and he also wrote several letters to him. And Khetri Maharaja also used to have long discussions with Swamiji during Swamiji's stay at Khetri. Three important questions he puts during one of his discussions with Swamiji. Khetri Maharaja, he puts three important questions. What is religion? What is education? And what is life? He says. Education, he says, it is the manifest. Swamiji replies, saying that education is a manifestation of perfection already in man, and religion is the manifestation of divinity. Each man is potentially divine, and the manifestation of that divinity is what is called as religion. And about life, Swamiji says, life is an unfoldment, the development of a being when the circumstances try to put him down. This is life. It's a struggle against circumstances which try to put him down. So that is life, he says. And he also defines religion as the divinity, manifestation of divinity already in man, the potential divinity. Now, the question may arise, in the present day world, when the life is so busy, competitive, is it possible for a man to manifest his divinity, to attain his potentiality? Our scripture says, yes, it is possible. And it suggests certain methods for manifesting this divinity. Still, there may be a question, like Girish Chandra Ghosh told Swamiji, told Sri Ramakrishna. So, is there a myth, when Sri Ramakrishna said, you take the name of God in morning and the evening? No, it's not possible for me, he says. Okay, at least while taking food, you remember God? No, I do not know when I take my food. Sometime in the morning, sometime in the afternoon, sometime late in the night. So it is not possible for me to remember God. At least while going to the bed, no, it's not possible. When I go to bed, I do not know. Such as, most of us, most of the people here in this world, the competitive world, the busy world. So it is not possible to do, say, Sandhya Vandana morning and evening, and the afternoon also. And also doing upasanas morning and evening. It is not possible, this busy world. Maybe we are traveling, we are in the train, we are in the flight. Right? It is not possible. Throughout the week, we are moving here and there. So there may be a question, is it possible to follow all those rigorous ways which the scriptures suggest? Do we have to give up our responsibilities, our duties to our families and our work, etc.? Then only can we become spiritual? This question will arise in our minds. Right? Then probably 99.9% of the people, only a few thousand monks, can be able to practice all those as suggested by the scriptures. Right? 99.9% of the people are out of religion. And then the Swamiji's statement that each man is potentially divine and the goal of life is to manifest that divinity, then it becomes meaningless, isn't it? So the Gita, but what does Gita say? Gita doesn't say you give up your responsibilities, you give up your duties, you change your way of life. No. Do your duties with same intensity, with the same sense of responsibility, with correctness. Everything you do. And do you have to give up your duties? Do you have to give up, go and live in a solitude, in the caves, forest? No. You don't have to do that. It says. You just change your mental outlook. There should be an awakening in your intellect. There should be a change in your awareness. What I am, who am I? See, small change, a tinkering, what they call in the modern language, a tinkering in your way of life. Just change your outlook, change your awareness, right? And an awakening in your intellect should be there. Then the whole life will be changed. Every work which is done with this awakened intellect will make the life spiritual, our life spiritual, it says. So the Gita gives us the guidelines how to awaken our intellect, how to make our life meaningful, right? How to live with this awareness of our true nature. This guidelines we get from the Gita. This is the main central idea of the Gita. You don't have to give up your duties. You don't have to give up your way of living. Only change your mental outlook. Sri Ramakrishna also says that. In Bengali he would say, Mone tyag, mone te tyag. Mind. You give up in your mind all your attachments. And then automatically it will come in external. The external renunciation will come about, he says. A change in the outlook is what is necessary. This is what the Gita suggests. And with a little background of Gita, Gita is a part of the Mahabharata. It comes in the Bhishma Parva, from the 25th chapter to The 42nd chapter, 18 chapters, is the Gita. And we all know that the Pandavas and the Kauravas, they are arrayed in a battle, right? Who will be the descendants, will heir to their kingdom, the Hastinapura kingdom, whether the Pandavas or the Kauravas. And the Pandavas, the legitimate kingdom, the Kauravas do not want to give back to them. After spending 12 years in exile and 1 year in disguise, Ajñātavasa, they come back, and then the Kauravas, they do not agree to give back their kingdom. All sorts of compromise. Ultimately, the Pandavas says, give us 5 villages. That is sufficient for each one of us, one village. And Duryodhana says, not as 5 needle points of land I would give you, he says. When all the avenues for peace is all shut, slammed shut, then the war becomes inevitable. And at that juncture, Arjuna is seeing the both sides, his own relatives and friends are on both sides, they will be killed. So Arjuna breaks down and Sri Krishna preaches the Gita. So that is a treasure which we get out of this Kurukshetra battle. And each one of these it has got 18 chapters, we said. So each one of these chapters is called as a yoga. Now, what are the significant points? What are the important features of this Gita? First is that when Sri Krishna preached this Gita to Arjuna, he was in such a high state of yoga. It was from a very high state of yoga, like Sri Ramakrishna, when his photograph was taken, the photographs which we worship in the temple, the photograph that was taken, he was in such a high state of yoga. He would say later on, this will be worship. He himself worships that photograph and then says this will be worshipped in every house in future. The same way, when Sri Krishna preached this Gita to Arjuna, he was in such a high state of yoga. From that state he preached. Again, after the war, when Arjuna was dejected, seeing all his relatives are dead, he was so depressed. He goes to Sri Krishna and asks him to preach the Gita again, so that he would get some solace. But Sri Krishna says, no, I cannot do that again. Because it was in such a high state of yoga that I had preached. Unless I do it, I attain that state, I cannot preach it. So it was preached in a very high state of yoga. And secondly, it has a universal message. It's not for a few group of people, a sect, creed, or gender. No distinctions. Religion, no. It is for all. It's a universal message. Gita is a universal message. Anybody who wants to live a life of a God-oriented life will get inspiration out of this message of Gita. Right? So it has a universal message. The Gita has got a universal message. And one more aspect is that it is the goal of life is to manifest our divinity. Moksha is the goal of life, right? And Gita, it speaks about the highest reality. It is the way to attain this moksha. It speaks about God. It speaks about moksha, how to attain that. So it is a moksha shastra. We have other moksha shastras, scriptures also, Upanishads, etc. But what is the difference between other shastras and the Gita? They would say, the Upanishads would say, Shravana, Manana, Nityadipanandaji. That is the only way of realizing God, your goal of life. Give up all actions. Do Shravana, study the scriptures, hear about it, do manana, deliberate on the truths of the scriptures, and then meditate upon it. That is the only way. That is a way only for a few selected group of sannyasis who are eligible for that state of, that kind of a deliberation. But not for all. There are a few people only who can do that. Whereas Gita, the Gita says you don't have to give up anything, as we discussed earlier. You don't have to give up your actions. Through actions only you can attain the highest goal of life, it says. That is a special message of Gita which we are going to discuss today. We have also told that each of the 18 chapters of Gita is called as a yoga. What is yoga? Etymologically it says to join, to combine is yoga. Now when we see in the cycle of evolution, a being starts from protoplasm, it becomes an insect, it becomes an animal, an ape, and finally attains the manhood. Right? As a man, it becomes. So, in the physical manifestation, it is a physical form. The man is the highest form. And furthermore, there is no change in the physical form. Right? And after that, whatever evolution takes place, it is in the level of the mind. Man becomes more and more rational, more analytical. He becomes more rational and analytical, right? And more mature, rather. And it also, the yoga is attain the highest limits of this evolution of this mind. Right? He can cross the limits of the mind also. This is yoga, right? And this yoga, what does it mean? It means union with, there are three aspects of this yoga. One is union with oneself, joining with oneself, right? And then the second thing is joining with the environment, the nature around us. And finally joining with, becoming one with God. The three levels of union is there. Right? The first level, joining with oneself, what it is. We know the mind. Right? Swamiji once was during his Parivirajagatis, he was in Kerala somewhere, Kannanur somewhere. He was having a discussion with one Chattambi Swami. They were sitting under a tree and they were discussing. And suddenly, there were a few monkeys jumping and disturbing them during their discussion. Sitting on the branches and jumping here and there and making a lot of noise. Then suddenly Swamiji looks up and says, just like my mind, he says. And Chattambi Swami was so happy. He was so frank about what the nature of his mind. Like that, our minds are also like monkeys, jumping here and there, not able to fix on a particular thing. Especially when there is a task which we have to perform. Say, Swamiji had called me to give this talk. Now I have to prepare for that. Right? And sitting and preparing, so many things keep coming. It's disturbing. Let me do this and then sit. Let me do something else and then sit, write something. Think about it. Read something. So mind, especially when a task is assigned and we have to execute a particular task, then the mind keeps oscillating here and there. It doesn't come. It's chanchalam himana Krishna. Pramati. It's turbulent. Mind is chanchala. It's wandering here and there. Restless. Chanchalam himana Krishna. Pramati. Balavat. It's so strong. It is. Dridam. Stubborn. Adamant. It is. If you say, come and concentrate on this, it will not. It will say. Such is the nature of our minds, and how to control it is a big task, especially when it comes to spiritual matters. So when you try to sit and do the upasana morning and evening, when you normal times we can fix on objects, things and subjects which are external to us. When we go and sit in the morning and evening, the whole, so many thoughts keep flowing into our minds, which we never thought all these thoughts were in our minds. And moreover, when we start doing sadhanas, right, we are just stirring our minds. Whatever is settled down in the bottom, like a mud in a beaker of water, you start stirring it, what happens? The mud rises up. There's a whole commotion in the mind. Such is the nature of the mind, and how to control this mind. Fix it upon a particular thing. Yoga, you want to unite it with something. This mind is such a difficult thing to control. You cannot control it within the same level. With the mind, you cannot control the mind itself. If you have to rise to some higher level, you need a boss. Right? Amongst the workers, you assign one of the workers a responsibility of controlling them. He will not be able to do it. You need a supervisor to do it. Right? Like that, you need something higher level. You need an entity which is higher to the mind, which is buddhi. He says. Buddhi, what is this buddhi? We generally acquire knowledge through our senses, see things, hear things, right? Perceive things through our senses and do it. There is some other way, there is one other way, it's called as intuitive knowledge. From the lake of the consciousness, right? It's an infinite consciousness. You have an awareness that is rising within. Being aware of that, right? The knowledge which is acquired through that. It's not a tangible thing which you can say, right? Which is something arising within. When our intellects, when our buddhi is awakened, right? Such people in whom the buddhi is awakened, they become, they can create so many new things. All these scientists, artists, they have the creative capacity within them. In them, this kind of awakening has taken place in their intellect. The intuitive knowledge is become more mature in them. So this is what, when this awareness about our own true nature comes to us, when we are awakened to that, right? That is what is called as the third eye, right? Buddhi yogam, they say in the Shastras, they say Buddhi yogam. Gita, it says Buddhi yogam. Dadami Buddhi yogam. From yena mam upayantite. I'll give you this Buddhi yoga, this awakening within, with the help of which you can realize me, you can experience me. Divyam dadami te chakshu. I give you this divine insight. Divyam dadami te chakshu. I give you this divine chakshu to you, he says, with the help of which you will realize me. So this is this awakening within. When the intellect is awakened within us, we will be able to control. Only then can we be able to control this mind. When this mind is in our control, yukta, he says, yuktatma, it says, a person who has controlled his mind. Such a person, for him, his speech, his thoughts, and his actions, they are in unison. What he thinks, he speaks. Thakur, as he says, Sri Ramakrishna, Mon mukh ak karo. In Bengali he would say. Mon means your thoughts and your words should be in unison. What you think, you should speak. He says, such an awakening can come. When the awakening comes, the mind becomes under control, and then only all these three, our thoughts, our actions, and our speech, they become one. This is what is called as union with oneself. I am one with myself. I see. This is the first level which we have to achieve. Right? And then the second level of this yoga is with the becoming one with the environment, with the nature around. Nature doesn't mean whatever we see through the external objects which we see through our senses. Other beings also. We should be first able to live in a harmonious. Our life should be in harmony with our surroundings, with the people around us. Right? We should be able to empathize with the people around us. Atmaupamyena sarvatra samam pashyati Arjuna. Sri Krishna says in the Gita. You try to others sukha and dukkha. Atmaupamyena sarvatra samam pashyati Arjuna sukham va. If the other person is he's having some difficulties, you sympathize with him as if it is your own. Right? You should not feel happy about it. The other person is suffering. Or the other person is happy, you should not feel jealous about it. If I get this happiness, how I would feel, the same way I should feel about the other person being happy. Right? So we should be in harmony. Once the Holy Mother in her village, some lady came, a poor lady, she had lost her son. So she was coming and weeping and wailing. The mother also joined with her and started wailing with her, as if she had lost her own son. So much of identification with the other person, feeling for others, sympathizing with others, living in harmony with the surroundings. Right? This is what the second level of the yoga, the union with the surroundings. One who has achieved this, right? For him, the life itself is a sacrifice for the sake of others. Gita also speaks about several kinds of sacrifices in the third chapter. Right? It's not only the yaga yajna which you perform, right? It speaks about several yajnas. The whole cycle, the creation cycle, is a kind of a sacrifice. Everything is done for the sake of others. Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyat anna sambhavaha annad bhavati parjanya annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyat anna sambhavaha yajnat bhavati parjanyo karma brahmodbhavam vidhi brahmakshara samudbhavam, it says. Yajnat bhavati parjanya yajna karma samudbhavaha. Right? It is born out of karma. So anna is born out of yajna, he says. Yajna is performed, is action that is performed through your body. That is again supported by anna only. Right? And supported by the anna, we perform yajna, and by this yajna, the devatas are pleased and they give you whatever you want in the form of rains. They do good to you. And again you perform yajna, and through that anna is created. It goes in a cycle like that. So everything is interrelated, and if you observe what is everything that is created has got an end to it. Everything that rises like a wave, it has to come down. Everything that blossoms, that has to wither away. Right? So everything is for the sake of others. A tree, it's for the sake of others. It gives seeds. From the seed again the tree comes, and again from there another seed comes. Like that it goes on. It for the sake of others. Life itself is a sacrifice for the sake of others. And those who willingly offer themselves as a sacrifice, they are happy. They become relieved from all the sufferings of this world. And they keep it for themselves. Tena eva sa, right? Who cook food for themselves, eat for themselves, They only think about themselves, their own welfare, not about others. They are selfish people. They are verily thieves, the Gita says. Ye pachanti atma karana. They make food for their own self, not for the sake of others. So life should be meant for our own lives, should be meant for the sake of others. You should be in harmony with your environment, in your with your surroundings. This is the second level of union that one has to achieve. And one who has achieved oneness with oneself and with that of the surroundings, he becomes eligible for the higher level of union with God. Right? Union with God means totally surrendering oneself to the God. Right? Whatever he does, it is for my sake. Right? Right? It is for my good. Whether it is, apparently it may appear like in the case of Girish Chandra Ghosh, he thought the surrendering is such, Sri Ramakrishna, when he said, you give your power of attorney, when he said, you take the name of God in morning and evening, and if he says, it's not possible for me, right, to take the name of God, then he says, then you give me the power of attorney to me. Then Girish Chandra Ghosh was so happy. Oh, I don't have to do anything for myself. Lord will take care of me. I'll be merrily moving around, enjoying as it is, and God will take care of my everything, my iha and para, this world and whatever is necessary for the world beyond. He will take care of me, he thinks. Then the next moment itself, Girish Chandra Ghosh says, I'll do that, I'll do this. How do you say that? If I will, then only you will be able to do it. You cannot do it on your own accord. He says, self-surrender is not such an easy thing. That is what Sri Ramakrishna, Saradanandaji, in his great master, he describes first about Bhavamukha and then about all the power, giving the power of attorney. He discusses in detail in his book, The Great Master, Sri Ramakrishna, the Great Master. So, surrendering oneself, so one who has unified himself with the self within and with the surroundings, then it is possible for him to see everything is the making of God, and he can surrender himself fully to God. Right? In the case of Girish Chandra Ghosh, after the passing of, during the lifetime of Sri Ramakrishna itself, he underwent so many miserable things in his life. His son passed away, young child. Right? He passed away after Sri Ramakrishna's attaining Mahasamadhi. He was thinking that Sri Ramakrishna himself had been born as his son. Right? And several miseries he was facing. He says, I have to accept everything that it is the will of God. It is for my good that he has given. He would say to the other disciples, it is good that you have taken up some sadhana and you have attained God. My sadhana has never ended, he says. Since I have given the power of attorney, every single act of mine, I cannot do it independently. I have to ponder about whether I am doing it on my own or by the will of God. This is the total surrender to God's will. So this is the third kind, the highest kind of oneness with God. Right? For him there is no duties at all. Sri Ramakrishna says, for a madman, there is no duty, he says. For a madman, there is no duty. He would say, there is no rule, or they will not punish him for anything. They will simply put him in a asylum and then treat him. There's no duty for when one becomes mad for God. There is no duty at all for you, he says. For such a person can give up, he becomes eligible for giving all kinds of actions. So it is only for people like us who cannot fully surrender ourselves to God, right? we feel that we have some responsibilities to do, it is for us. The message of work is assigned and the message of Gita is applicable to us. Right? So this yoga, this is not only a Shastra, this is a Yoga Shastra also. It is not only a Moksha Shastra, it defines about the ultimate reality, what is the ultimate reality of life. It also tells about how to attain this highest reality. It's a Yoga Shastra. As we have said, the earlier also we have said that it's different from the other Shastras in that it helps, it asks to do your duties as it is and then live in the place where you are. You don't have to change your surroundings or settings, and your duties you don't have to give up. Whereas the other Shastras, they say, you give up your duties and take to this Shramana Manana Nididhyasana. Even Arjuna, after listening to Gita, he didn't go to a forest, he didn't go to a cave to meditate. He performed his duty as a warrior. Intensely he performed this duty. Right? So when it comes to Gita, there is no ambiguity at all, whether I should do my duty first, or should I seek God, or first duty and then seeking God. No, he says, do your duties, intensively you do it, but only with a changed mental makeup, with an awakened intellect, it says. Right? It doesn't say you give up your duties, because no man can, nahi kaschit kshanamapi, not even for a single moment a man can rest without working. And how to perform this work? Yogastha kuru karmani, he says. Being established in yoga, you do it. Give up all your fruits of actions to others, to God, and then giving up your doership also. I am doing it. Sangam tyaktva. Then the work which you do becomes a yoga, and yoga is karmasu kaushalam. It's not the skillfulness of work is yoga. Right? It is not just a skillfulness, like an artist playing an instrument nicely, or a sculptor making an image of a god or goddess, nicely making it. He is very skillful in his efforts. But he may not be, the work which he is doing, he may not be a yoga. He may be doing it for his earning. That is not skillfulness of action, is not yoga. Right? And what is yoga then? It is action which is action that is performed as a yoga, that becomes skillful. Actions normally which bind a person, because it gives good and bad results, it binds a person. But if it is done as a yoga, it does not bind a person. So actions which normally bind a person, it helps him to become free from all the bondages. That is what is called as yoga. That is the skillfulness. Performing actions as a yoga is a skillfulness in action. Yoga is not skillfulness in action, but actions performed as a yoga is a skillfulness in one's action. Right? So any action, even an ordinary action done for the sake of others, giving up all your fruits of actions to God and then giving up one's doership, that becomes a yoga, and that will not bind you. That is the real skill of performing actions, he says. And how can this be done? If it is done as a worship, 3 ways of doing it. It can be done as a worship, like all our activities of the Ramakrishna mission, Shiva Jnane Jiva Seva. That is the idea behind all our actions. It is a worship, it is not a work. Work is worship. With the attitude of a worship, if we do it, surrendering all the fruits of actions to God, right? And as a worship, if it is done, then it doesn't bind a person. Because it is the fruits which bind a person. Ma phaleshu kadachana. You don't have adhikara for phala, he says. Ma karma phala heturbu. Don't be a producer of results through your actions. So do it for the sake of others as a worship. For the sake of God, do it, and it becomes a worship. And second way of doing it is doing it as a yoga. Yoga is what is chitta vritti nirodha is yoga. The restlessness of mind, stopping all the restlessness of mind is what is called as a yoga. So as a chitta vritti, what creates this restlessness in mind? It is a desires within us. Desire for the fruits of action that causes the restlessness in mind. So if you give up all your desires for fruits of actions, then automatically the mind will calm down. Surrendering all fruits of actions to God, the mind becomes calm, and the underlying reality will automatically, like a lake, if it's become free from all ripples, what happens under the underlying reality is revealed by itself. You don't have to do anything. Only you'll have to stop the restlessness of mind. So if it is done as a yoga, trying to stop the restlessness of mind, then you can be free from all bondages. You can realize the reality. And the third way of doing it is as a sacrifice. Not the earlier idea of offering oblations in fire. Right? The Gita has elevated, it has broadened this idea of sacrifice, right? Which has become impossible these days to do, all those sacrifices which are in the Vedas. So it has broadened. All your services which we do for the sake of others is trying to, it's a sacrifice. It's a cycle which is going on in this world, and you're participating in that. Willingly participate in the cycle of sacrifices which is going on. If you do these things, then you attain to yoga, you attain to oneness with yourself, with the surroundings, and with the ultimate reality. And how this enlightenment comes, we said the central idea of Gita is through actions, right, to get enlightenment. How these actions can help us to attain enlightenment. Normally, how do we function in this world? See, certain things which we do for our own development, our own self-development. You read something, you do develop some skills, etc. Right? So these are for oneself. So this work I am doing, certain things which I am doing it for myself. For oneself, for myself I am doing it. And second way, you work in the office, it's somebody else's work. It is only for my earnings, only for my income that I work. It's not my work. It's for somebody else that I am doing. It is for my livelihood that I am doing this work. With that attitude, we do it. With certain things which it's for myself, I do it. It's for my family members that I do. It's my responsibility. With a sense of duty, we do certain kinds of work. It's a different attitude which we maintain. We go to the temple, we have a different attitude there. So our minds get fragmented, having different kinds of attitudes, performing different works. Right? This fragmented mind is simply frittering away of our energies. So I should somehow quickly finish off the work in the office. I should get back to my home, to family duties, and I should also learn something. Right? We are always in a tussle, in a struggle. Right? It fritters away our mental energies. But if it is unified, how certain things I am doing as a yoga, unifying with myself, certain things I am doing for the sake of others, right, in the office, in the family members, it is union with the surroundings. You go to the temple, you worship it. So all these three, actually these three are one only, appearing as many. Right? God only has become this universe. He has become this jiva. I am one with God. This world is also one with God. And God has only become everything. If you try to unite with that God, uniting with oneself, uniting with the surroundings around, then you automatically get united with God. This is the way the Gita teaches us enlightenment, and this can be achieved the way the attitude, changing our attitude, right? Everything is for the sake of God, the God appearing as this person, God appearing as that person. Shiva Jnani Jiva Seva, right? Then our life itself becomes more meaningful. Why should I do for others? Why should I do this? Why should I work in the office? Why should I work in do something for my family members, some distant relatives? Why should I do that? Everything is for the sake of God. Only God is appearing in all these forms, and I'm doing it for the sake of God. If I do it, then the mind becomes unified. You don't divide it into several different attitudes. That mind is like a dynamo. I mean, a lot of energies. That's what they say. A yogi's mind has infinite energies in it. It can execute anything. Then we will be able to face all the challenges in life. Bravely we can we can engage ourselves against all these challenges in life. So this is what is the central idea of Gita. So you need not fear about our duties. Doing our duties only with a changed attitude, as a worship, as a yoga, we can achieve this. May I pray to God that we have this kind of an attitude, right? So that all our actions become a worship of God and we attain meaningfulness in life. Thank you very much.